Hey folks, want to jump on here and shoot a quick solo podcast. This one's going to be similar to yesterday. We discussed this business already, but we'll go into a bit more detail. It is Waymo. Super interested about this area. I haven't been seeing many autonomous vehicles in Sydney or robo-taxis. Even when I was back in Dublin, and in London there wasn't that much. So over 2020 or in the next year, and into 2027, I'm very intrigued to see where this is going to go. That said, let's get into it. So Waymo is a US company that develops self-driving vehicle technology, autonomous driving. It's widely considered one of the most advanced companies working on robo-taxis. Quick facts: founded 2009 as a Google self-driving car project, parent company Alphabet Inc., Google's parent, headquarters Mountain View, California, USA, CEO Takedra Mawakana, co-CEO, main service Waymo One, robotaxi ride service. What Waymo actually does: Waymo builds level 4 autonomous vehicles, meaning the car can actually drive itself without a human driver in certain areas. Their system includes LiDAR sensors, laser mapping, radar cameras, AI driving software. These systems combine to detect objects, map roads, and drive safely. Robotaxi service: Waymo runs a driverless ride-hailing service called Waymo One. Cities where it operates or has operated: Phoenix, first large commercial robotaxi service; San Francisco; Los Angeles, expanding; Austin, testing / expansion. Passengers can order a full driverless car through the Waymo One app. Vehicles used: Waymo doesn't build its own cars from scratch. Instead, it partners with automakers, mainly Jaguar I-Pace electric SUVs, Chrysler Pacifica hybrid minivans. These vehicles are fitted with Waymo's autonomous hardware. Interesting milestones: 2009, Google begins self-driving project. 2016, project becomes the company Waymo. 2020, first fully driverless commercial taxi service launches in Phoenix. 2023 to 2025, expansion to more US cities. Is Waymo safe? Waymo vehicles have driven tens of millions of autonomous miles on public roads, billions of miles in simulation. Studies often show lower crash rates than human drivers in similar environments. Wow. Let's go over to gemini.google.com, which is also a part of the Alphabet family. As of March 2026, Waymo has transitioned from a Silicon Valley experiment into a massive commercial reality. It is currently the global leader in autonomous ride-hailing, recently hitting a milestone of 200 million fully autonomous miles on public roads. Here is the current state of play for Waymo in early 2026, where you can ride. Waymo has expanded its quote Waymo One end quote service significantly over the last year. You can now hail a ride in fully public, no waitlist Phoenix, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Austin. Recent / early access launches: Miami, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and Orlando. Expansion pipeline: 2026. Services rolling out or testing in 20 plus additional cities, including Atlanta, Washington, D.C., Las Vegas, San Diego, and Detroit. International: Waymo has officially begun testing and laying groundwork for launches in London and Tokyo. The tech and fleet: the quote 6th generation end quote driver. Waymo is currently deploying its most advanced sensor suite, which includes 13 cameras, 4 lidars, and 6 radars, allowing the car to see up to 500 meters away in all directions. New vehicles: while the Jaguar I-Pace remains the workhorse, the new Zeekr builds robotaxi designed specifically for autonomous ride-hailing with no steering wheel is now entering the fleet. Freeway access: in Phoenix, SF, and LA, Waymo has opened up freeway driving to the general public, significantly cutting down trip times. Business and safety stats: volume: Waymo is facilitating roughly 400,000 to 500,000 rides per week, with the goal to hit 1 million per week by the end of 2026. Funding in February 2026, the company raised a massive $16 billion funding round, valuing the company at approximately $126 billion. Safety record: Waymo reports a 90% reduction in serious injury crashes compared to human drivers, though it is currently under federal NHTSA investigation regarding specific instances involving school buses and school zones. Current, quote, hot topics, end quote, remote assistance. Recent transparency reports revealed that Waymo employs about 70 remote assistant agents at any given time. They don't, quote, drive, end quote, the cars via joystick, but provide, quote, advice, end quote, when the AI is confused by construction or police hand signals. Government scrutiny. As of this week, March 2026, Waymo's CEO is attending a national safety forum hosted by the NHTSA to discuss the path toward nationwide deployment and regulatory standards. And over to Claude.ai. Here's a rundown of what's happening with Waymo right now. Major expansion as of late February 2026. Waymo launched fully autonomous ride-hailing in 4 new cities simultaneously: Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and Orlando, bringing its commercial metro areas to 10. That's the source is Waymo. It also expects to begin service later in 2026 in Washington, D.C., Detroit, Las Vegas, San Diego, and Denver, and has begun fully autonomous operations in Nashville ahead of a planned commercial launch with Lyft. The Mercury News is the source. Big money: Waymo recently raised a $16 billion investment round, valuing the company at $126 billion, presuming USD. If you make that AUD, 126. It wouldn't be far off, it'd be quite similar. 126 billion in AUD is it's a bit more. It's 179 billion Australian dollars. And 16 billion in United States dollar is 22 billion Australian dollars. Well, 23 billion Australian dollars. It's actually 22 billion 733 million. And then 731,200 Australian dollars. That's all correct. In 2025 alone, it more than tripled its annual volume to 15 million rides. Scale today: as of mid-February 2026, Waymo has a fleet of 3,000 vehicles driving over 4 million miles and providing over 400 rides every week. The company is targeting 1 million rides per week by the end of the year. New tech: Waymo has begun fully autonomous operations using its 6th generation driver, designed to reduce costs while expanding into more diverse environments, including those with extreme winter weather. Controversies: Waymo is under NTSB investigation, which is slightly different from over in Gemini, where it says, I presume it's the same thing there, NHTSA, which is interesting. Investigation after robotaxis allegedly stopped school buses in Austin, Texas, and a separate incident where a Waymo vehicle struck a 9-year-old girl in Santa Monica's school zone has drawn federal scrutiny. That's the source's Autoblog. It also came to light that some of Waymo's remote support operators who can intervene in tricky situations are based overseas, including in the Philippines, by the source's Autoblog. Overall, Waymo is in an aggressive growth phase, but facing increasingly regulatory and safety scrutiny as it scales. So, whether robo-taxis will come to Australia, this over in ChatGPT, or 10 minutes in. Yes, robo-taxis will likely come to Australia, but not immediately. The rollout will probably happen in stages over the next 5 to 10 years. Here's the realistic timeline based on current plans and laws. Right now, 2026, not legal yet. Fully driverless taxis cannot operate commercially in Australia yet. Current road laws require a licensed human driver to be responsible for the vehicle. Fully autonomous vehicles are only allowed in controlled trials with special permits. That means services like Waymo robotaxis, no driver at all, are not allowed to operate publicly yet. Number 2, 2026 to 2027 trials may start. This is the phase Australia is entering now. Waymo has been talking with Australian regulators about testing robotaxis, potentially starting with city trials. Companies must apply for trial permits from state authorities such as Transport for NSW. For those of you that may be abroad, that would be New South Wales. It's abbreviated to NSW. A national safety framework for automated vehicles is expected by around 2027. So the first thing you'll likely see is test vehicles driving around with engineers or safety drivers. Late 2020s, limited robo-taxi services. Once laws are updated, small commercial deployments could start. Government and industry plans suggest autonomous vehicle trials around 2026 and broader deployment afterward. Some forecasts say robotaxis could start appearing in late 2020s in selected areas. Likely locations: Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane. They would initially operate only in map zones like airport corridors or CBD districts. Number 4, early 2030s, wider adoption. By the early 2030s, many experts expect real services. Some projections suggest driverless taxis could appear in cities like Brisbane by around 2032 if regulations and infrastructure catch up. At that stage, fleets could be ordered via apps like Uber today. No driver in the car, electric vehicles with sensors and AI. Short answer: trials 2026 to 2027. First real services late 2020s, common in cities early 2030s. Since you're in Sydney, it's actually one of the most likely Australian cities to get robo taxis first, because companies like Waymo have already been discussing trials there. So the United States got robo-taxis first, mainly because of regulation, tech companies, and investment, which for those of you may think it's pretty straightforward that I said that. Several factors made it easier there than places like Australia. Number 1, tech companies are based there. Many of the world's leading autonomous driving companies are American. Major players include Waymo, Tesla, Cruise, Zoox, owned by Amazon. That's ZOOX. Most are headquartered in California, where the technology ecosystem is strongest. Because the companies are local, they can test quickly, work directly with regulators, deploy fleets faster. Number 2, flexible state level regulations. In the US, states control road rules, which allows faster experimentation. Example: Arizona allowed fully driverless testing early, which is why Waymo launched its robotaxi service in Phoenix. California allows commercial robotaxis permits in places like San Francisco. If one state is strict, companies can move to another state. Australia has more centralized regulation, which slows rollout. Number 3, massive investment. Autonomous driving requires tens of billions of dollars. Example: Waymo has raised 10 plus billion, presuming USD, in funding. Cruise was backed heavily by General Motors. Zoox is funded by Amazon. The US venture capital ecosystem is much larger than Australia's. Number 4, better testing environments. Some US cities are ideal for testing. For example, Phoenix has wide roads, good weather, little rain, predictable traffic. This makes autonomous driving easier compared to places with heavy rain, narrow streets, complex intersections. Number 5, huge market incentive. The US ride-hailing market is enormous. Companies like Uber, Lyft operate millions of rides daily. Robo-taxis could replace human drivers and save billions in labor costs. So companies push hard to deploy them. In simple terms, the US got robo-taxis first because it has the companies building the technology, looser testing rules, huge funding, ideal test cities, a massive taxi market. And yes, I suppose we'll go to one big thing about Waymo. If you're wondering, 10 billion, by the way, or 10 billion plus funding USD to AUD is, so 10 billion in AUD, 10 billion US dollars equates to 14.2 billion dollars, Australian dollars. For those who are wondering why I'm saying that there's there's most people listen to the podcast probably in Ireland, and then second, Australia. More people are joining in, so having a quick listen. Feel free to leave a review, by the way, if you're enjoying the show. It'd be great. So let me know that it's worthwhile to keep doing it, which I probably will. But anyway, let's get to the one big thing about Waymo. Waymo has already run fully driverless taxis with no human driver. That might sound simple, but it's a huge milestone in transportation. What makes this such a big deal? Most, quote, self-driving, end quote, systems today still need a human driver ready to take over. For example, Tesla's full self-driving still requires driver supervision. Many autonomous tests around the world still have a safety driver behind the wheel. Waymo is different. In cities like Phoenix, San Francisco, people can order a car using the Waymo One app and ride in a vehicle that has no driver at all. What the passenger experience is like when you order a ride: number one, the car arrives by itself. Number two, doors unlock through the app. Number three, you sit in the passenger seat, no driver. Number four, a screen shows the route and driving decisions. Number five, the car drives you to your destination. Passengers report it feels like riding in a very cautious, careful driver. Why this matters globally: if robotaxis work at scale, they could reduce traffic accidents, lower transportation costs, run 24/7, change taxi and rideshare industries plural. It's why companies and governments worldwide are watching Waymo closely. In short, the biggest thing about Waymo is that it has turned self-driving cars from an experiment into a real public taxi service. I think that's it. We're just around 15 minutes, 17, slightly over. I haven't been in one, not going to lie. It's been a while since I've been to San Francisco. I think it was 2017 the last time I was there. Love to go back. And thanks for listening, folks. That is a bit about Waymo.